The Secretary General is appalled by the tragic human toll of the conflict in Gaza, in which more than 30,000 people have now reportedly been killed and over 70,000 injured. Tragically, an unknown number of people lie under the rubble. The Secretary General condemns the incident today in northern Gaza, in which more than 100 people were reportedly killed or injured while seeking life-saving aid. The desperate civilians in Gaza need urgent help, including those in the besieged northern part of Gaza, where the United Nations has not been able to deliver aid for more than a week. The Secretary General reiterates his call for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire and the unconditional release of all the hostages held in Gaza. He once again calls for urgent steps so that critical humanitarian aid can get into and across Gaza for all those who so desperately need it. Yesterday, UNRWA reported that displaced people, including some UNRWA staff, were forced to evacuate from 2 schools where they were sheltering earlier this week. Some were arrested by Israeli forces and 1 woman was reportedly killed. Our colleagues in the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs say there's an urgent need for unimpeded access to northern Gaza to deliver food and establish stabilization centers for severe acute malnutrition, as well as outpatient treatments. As we have warned repeatedly, and as you heard from our humanitarian colleagues in the Security Council earlier this week, the risk of death by starvation in Gaza is growing, with children and pregnant women being severely impacted. The continued hostilities and other challenges continue to impede our efforts to reach civilians in Gaza with life-saving health and nutrition care. Yesterday, the Secretary General received an update from the Office of Internal Oversight Services, OIOS, on their work regarding the allegations put forward by Israel that 12 UNRWA staff members in Gaza were involved in the terror attacks of 7 October. I can tell you that OIOS began its work on January 29th, the same day the Secretary General tasked the unit with this effort. So far, OIOS investigators have reviewed the initial information received by UNRWA from Israeli authorities. They've also been in communication with other member states to obtain any information relevant to the investigation. OIOS investigators have also been to UNRWA headquarters in Amman in Jordan to obtain and review information held by UNRWA that is relevant to the investigation, including on UNRWA staff and UNRWA operations. They have also reviewed information and communications technology data held by the agency, including email records and information on UNRWA vehicles, review of information received from various sources, including that released through the media and other public sources. The investigation remains ongoing. OIOS will seek and to corroborate additional information and to compare the information obtained with the materials held by Israeli authorities, which OIOS expects to receive shortly. OIOS staff are planning to visit Israel soon to obtain information from Israeli authorities that may be relevant to the investigation. Cooperation with OIOS investigators by member state has thus far been adequate.